Hi Buzzy, honey, how you doing? Well, we suddenly got 8 people, 10 people, incredible. Okay. So, what I'm going to do tonight is remove these started cells from the cell builder I made 2 days ago. And I couldn't get into the colony yesterday because the weather was so cold. We had fog, cloudy, cold. I couldn't get into the colony. So that's why you heard nothing from me yesterday. This may be a short video. I'm going to do the best I can, and I'll put it online after so you can watch it after. But the whole idea today is just to show you how I transfer my started cells to my finishers. Hi everybody. Hi Robert. Okay. I haven't looked into this colony at all since I put the cells in. I couldn't show you putting the cells in either, but I haven't looked into it one bit since I set it up. So they could all be ruined. I just don't know. I'm just going to do what I can. All right. This is what beekeeping is all about. So this is my eek as a cover board. Okay. The feeder is fairly good. They've been eating that pretty well. You can see they've been taking that down well. As I said, yeah, I'll just say this again. Yesterday, the weather was so bad that we couldn't get into the hives. I couldn't even get my finishers ready. And when I mean get my finishers ready, the problem we have is you get a lovely strong nuke, you put it 5/5, and a few days before you're ready to start using that colony as a finisher. Hi, Greg. Oh, yeah, I know you missed out on hives. As soon as you get ready to start making that colony as a finisher, you need some good weather to make sure the queen is beneath the queen excluder. And we've had beautiful weather 2 days ago when I set this up. And of course, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and it didn't get done. So this afternoon, I've been battling to get other colonies checked, to get some honey supers on, all this kind of stuff, and then whiz back here, get everything ready. So I'm going to have to graft as well later and find some cells to graft. So let's just see what we got in here. I did put pollen sub on as well. I'm not wearing gloves because I need to be able to remove these. That's looking pretty nice. Nice lot of bees on that, which I expect. Looks like they've been eating the pollen sub, chewing the paper. Pretty nice. So this was supplementary, but I put it on yesterday because I really wanted to make sure that if the weather did go cold, they had the option of having some pollen sub. And I'll just move this to the side. Out. I'll just move and squash me squash me beneath this thing. I'll just move this to the side so that you can see the cell bar is in the middle there. Okay, that's my cell bar, that's my pollen frame, and that's just some extra brood I put next to the colony. So I'm just going to slide these back. And they have had all this protein on yesterday while the weather was rubbish. And they have had a feeder on as well because there was no forage coming in. It doesn't really matter if there was no forage come in, but obviously it's better because it just pushes everything through more. But that's why I had all this pollen sub there, and they chewed this one more. That's why I had the pollen sub ready to use if the weather went duff. And the weather was just terrible yesterday. No one could do any bees at all. It was cloudy, cold, and that's exactly why we do this. So let's hope we got some cells. Let's see what we got in here. I don't know how many are drawn up. This is the first time I've looked in 3 days. Looks fairly promising. Looks pretty good actually. So what I usually do is a lot of people like to brush. I like to lie things on their side, and I just smoke a little bit and they all go off. I've got 100% on that top bar already, I can see. I'm fairly happy with that. For a first graft, that's excellent. So I don't find this makes any difference at all to the cells. Just a bit of light smoke. It just pushes the bees off, you know. Because the problem is I've got to take each one of these bars off. That's interesting. Okay, so first bar. One missing there. I think I can live with that. So the thing when you do this is, first of all, it's freezing cold now and I've got to be really quick with this. Second thing is, you've got to be so careful taking these off because you can damage them like so easily, you know. So I put them on this side, I take one off from another one. This is all a bit complicated and you just have to do the best you can. So what I tend to do is this. So that you've got to be careful they don't go flat, otherwise they get damaged, but you need to undo all the bars to get access to them all. So that's that one. And I lie them on top of the colony because the heat coming out here is quite amazing. You've got to be so careful because otherwise you do that. And this, luckily, I've got away with it. It just shows you what you've got to do. Luckily it went face down and there's no damage apart from one at the end, so I can sort that one out. And this one here, you've got to do the same. But this is how delicate you've got to be. It's so easy to drop a bar. So easy to screw it all up. And that was not rehearsed, I'm just saying that is the way it is sometimes, you know. The bees didn't like that. So, what I do is I then go through the bars that are accepted and the bars that aren't, and I gap them up. And that's why when you see me take out my cells, they look amazing, because you go, how do you manage to get all those cells looking so good? So I choose a bar with the most that aren't taken. There's four missing off that one, so I use this one. But look at the royal jelly in there. They're absolutely packed full of royal jelly. See that colour? That's what you want. If you look inside there, there's a few missing. We'll take the good ones off and put them onto 3 bars. And that should leave me with 3 complete bars, 3 times 14. You can just do that with them once you take them off. The whole idea is if you clean these well at the end of the year, it's actually it pays off the following year, because you have ease of removing these. When they get really properlised up, you actually real struggling to get these off. Then you move, you jolt, and then you knock the other ones that aren't moved, you know. So let's undo these. Just put them there for the moment. They can go vertical for a little while. The larvae is sitting in its royal jelly. It's not a problem. This is only day 3, okay? So I'm being really gentle. Handle them like eggs. That bar is now finished with, okay? So that's fine. So I go and pick up a bar that's good. Remove the ones that are. This is what I like to use. I hate doing this with black bees because I really do not want to have to dig out stings out my fingers, because it's so much easier to work without gloves, you know. I get the odd sting. There's another one there. Just give them a bit of smoke every now and again. Sometimes they're more, sometimes it's less. It's all you can do, you know. That one is ready. So I'll lie this down here. I'll show you that after. Just going to get these other ones finished and ready. That one there's got a little bit damaged at the end, as I said before. Just going to reshape that. Perfect again. And that one the other end. They are so delicate. I understand a lot of people who like to leave them in for the full amount of time, you know. But for me, I just prefer to. This builder will be used again tonight. So that's full. That's 28 that will be finished, because they're above an excluder on an already strong colony where the queen can't get to it. And if a virgin came in underneath, she couldn't do anything, you know. So there you go, another bar ready. So that's already all that royal jelly. You can see the colour there, and you see that colour of that base of that cell. It's all floating in royal jelly. It's exactly what you want. So I've still got some left. So what I'll do is I'll take these with me separately, and you'll see what I do with those. So now this colony is hopelessly queenless again. They're going to start getting all stressed out. They're going to start looking for queen cells, and I'll give them a couple of hours. As soon as I've got these grafts in, and because the weather's going cold as we speak, I'm going to whip up after and just graft some more, get everything ready to do it. But that's what it's like for me of an evening. I have to often come back from being in an apiary, then go back into queen rearing mode. So I'm just going to drag this over so I can close the box back down again. Bees everywhere. That's what you want. This cell builder was overflowing yesterday. So now that's ready. We can have a quick count up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of the, how many did I do? 14 times 4, 9 out of those didn't take. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I may have had more if I'd have actually harvested them yesterday, because don't go, I missed today because of the weather. So now I'm going to take you over to where my finishes are, and we should get, I bet you get an even stronger picture up there, but it's not too bad today. I'm going to try and be a juggler now with my smoker under my arm and carry these cells very carefully. Just bear with me if I go offline a sec, because the signal's never that good around here. You've got to have everything ready so that you can get your cells out and in the finishes within 5 to 10 minutes. It's all you can do. Now, I can't see the best way of doing this. Okay. Right, you should have a better signal there, guys. I'm going to put this here, and hopefully it's going to be close enough to you to see what I'm doing. Maybe not. Let's move this closer still. Okay. So, hope you can see that. This is my finisher, or one of them. Okay, it's a 5 frames over 5 frames, and I have a queen excluder between the front, the bottom, and the top. And I know the queen is in the bottom because I shook all the bees out just now. They've all gone back inside, so I know that this top is queenless. And what happens when you elevate brood above an excluder? They want to draw up cells, and they're going to want to draw these cells. So let's have a look in here. There's my cells ready to go. Put that out of the way. Beautiful. Nice bees. What I've done here is I've left a gap in the middle so that I can put my cells in, because I knew I was going to be coming very shortly. So just give them a little smoke. To get the bees out of the way, I use these little bars on the back of my cell bars, and I turn them sideways on. So it was Colin Edwards in the UK, thanks Colin, who helped me with this little idea. And it means I can drop my cells into my finisher, these are my started cells, into my finisher, and then they stay central and vertical. That's what you really want. You want to keep them vertical, so the bar you see when you put that in keeps it vertical. All right, I can probably pick up the camera and show you. There you go. So in that goes. Started cells in. They'll be finished now. And because I was late yesterday, I couldn't get into here sooner. So these will be capped in 2 days now. So, or 2 to 3 days. So I'll come back in 2 to 3 days, and because this is such a beautiful finisher, I can ease. Someone asked me the other day, can I put two of these alongside? Yes, you can. You can wait till these cells are capped, and you can move that to there if you want, and then you can put another one in its place, as long as you bring up some open brood from the bottom here to entice the nurse bees up to around your cells. They will finish this absolutely brilliantly. So what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to put a feeder on these just to give them a little bit extra, but there should be some good weather tomorrow and the day after, and that colony's packed. So that's one done. So I'm just going to put this brick on top for now because I've got to get these other ones in. Let's go to the next one. You have to excuse the camera. It's extremely difficult to hold everything and juggle it well. Let's find my next finisher. Where was my next one? I've got 3, yeah. Okay, well, I'll do another one here. This one was a nice one. I can do this, but you might be the other way around in the sunshine here. So you might not see as much because the sun's facing the other way. So I get these, all this hedging around here is what I grew, what I grow to keep my bees happy. And it works pretty well. These bees are a bit nanksy, but they do the job. Nice colony. Okay. I brought up some brood just before. They've only just been put together. So, find some cells. My next cell bar goes in. There we are, started cells into the finisher vertically. One thing I didn't mention before is if you don't put them in vertically, they can sometimes build the cell into the cell wall of the colony next door, okay? So you have to be aware of that, because sometimes when you lift them out, they're not vertical, you can sometimes rip the cell apart and it's ruined. But it's rare, but it's just something to be aware of, you know? So the feeder will go on after. For now, this goes on, just to keep them warm. It's not that cold, we've had a bit of sunshine as you probably picked up. So one more to do down here. And those extra ones to put in. Yeah, Tony, that is 5/5. Okay, this is what I use for all my finishing. The other good thing about having a 5/5 is it does mean you have to regulate the boxes carefully, but I have a lot of 5-frame nukes, so it's dead easy for me to do, you know, and it just works out well for me. So here we are, it's my last one I'm going to do today, because I'm going to fit all these extra 4 cells into the top of this one. We've got a bit of shade here. Hopefully it won't blow over. Okay, so this is a double nuke, this one. This is one of my double nukes I've got. On the left-hand side is a colony number 75. On the right-hand side, the other entrance is the other side. But what I've done is, this one is, number 75 isn't that strong at the moment, so I've got a blank box in there. You see, they're just about getting ready to have the second top on, where this side is ready to go. And it's absolutely bursting. I may have to take a nuke from this week. You can see they're still out the front. A lot of the bees all calling everyone back in, because I had to do such a lot of movement just to get this ready. But, so, I'll put these in. And I'll put the extra ones in. And hopefully you'll see that. Yeah, caddis bees, I use my incubator too, but I use whatever I can. Sometimes I use the incubator, but I never bring them up until they're at least day 5. At least day 8 or 9, because I really don't like moving them out of the finisher until they're absolutely kind of rock solid. And I just use my incubator for probably 3 to 4 days, or sometimes to hatch them, you know, because I'm now going the road of doing a bit of insemination as well this year. So having an incubator for me is a big bonus in terms of that, and preparing cells for insemination, you know, holding them over. This is absolutely packed full of bees. This is a lovely little nuke. So this is dead simple, but I'm going to show you a little trick I do with the last cells. A little bit of smoke. They're all a bit runny because I've just had this colony ripped apart to put some brood, to check the queen wasn't up in the top, and to put the queen excluder in, and also to bring some brood up. Some open brood, look. Open brood there. Well, that's pollen, but on this other frame here, there's open brood. So that's a perfect colony, really. I know this colony's absolutely bursting with bees. So let's put these in. I've got no metal bar on this one, but it doesn't matter. You just make sure you put it in vertically. Okay? In that goes. And you can wedge it in the top. And you know, I do this because it works for me, and I think it's fun. You know, and other people go, oh, you can do it this way, you can do it that way. It's not. It's whatever works for you. You know, you don't have to do it a certain way. It's whatever works for you. So that is in there, okay? Just got to make sure we wedge this in because I haven't got any metal bars on this frame, unfortunately. I've got to fit some more, but like everything else, I ran out of time. So that's good. Okay, that's in. And all that space is taken up with cells now. So what I do with these last 4 is carefully, I just put them like this. 1. And the bees will draw those up, no problem. Just vertically, the bees will be all over that soon. Couple more. I mean, just having cells that are stotted is like, you know, is a luxury, but let's put these 2 this side. Let's move this over a little bit. In fact, I'll probably put all of these in the middle here because I think it's going to be better. 1. And they might build a little bit of burr comb, but these are only extras really, so it doesn't matter. 3, 4. Okay, so they're in. On goes that. I'll come back with a feeder very shortly, and in 3 days' time, they'll be ready to check their capped over, and then I can either move them to the side, or I can move them to another colony, or I can take them to an incubator. As I said before, I only tend to take them to an incubator if there are really, really good weather. If the weather is really good, because I don't want to risk jolting those cells. I can't be rushed when I move them out of this finisher. Okay, so setting up your finishers is really important. You can't do it with rubbish bees. If you've got really runny, horrible bees, you really will struggle to get a finisher that's good, because you need to find the queen. You need to get it beneath the queen excluder here. And you need to have several finishers if you're using finishers. And as I said, you don't have to use finishers. You could just use your cell builder, and you could just do it once, and you'll get about 30 to 40 cells and draw them up. Leave them there once they're capped over, and then harvest them on day 9, day 10, or put them in an incubator afterwards. But then you don't, for me, you don't get the full benefit of your incubator, because you don't get the full benefit of the cell builder, because the problem is it's there to be utilized. You've got this enormous amount of bees and brood and everything you've utilized. You've used that resource, and if you don't use it properly, having finishers just enables you to get even more through that system, you know. So we've got this kind of weather where it's like 1 minute it's foggy, next minute it's sunny, and it's really not very good. The bees get really shitty with it, to be honest. They absolutely hate it. But there we go. So what I'm going to do probably is now show you when I start harvesting queen cells in a few days' time, and hopefully you can see the results of that finisher and the result of the starter. But other than that, hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, you can always drop me a line. This will appear live after, so this will appear as a film on my YouTube channel after. And thanks for watching, and it's been really cool to catch up with everybody. Hope you guys are all well, and have fun with your bees. Bye for now.